Sometimes I get stuck and I don't know how to convey in a video what a device built from scratch to improve audio sounds like. That's when I decide to go far away, travel to remote places, and get inspired, so I can try to convey as best as possible the sound of this new high-resolution audio player with Android, the FiiO M33 R2R. And above all, you'll see that this is a different kind of video. At this point, I decided to travel to the most remote places in the north of Spain, where winter lingers and the snow seems eternal. I walked dozens of kilometers, got lost among mountains, winter forests, and white blankets that covered everything, until I found what I was looking for: several monasteries scattered across an impossible landscape. Well, I heard a pilgrim on the road say that a medieval music festival was going to take place in various hermitages, monasteries, and cathedrals in the area. Against all odds, I was finally able to find them. And also, I was lucky enough to be able to record some fragments of that ancient and sacred music for you. You will hear them throughout this video, and maybe this way, with these images and this audio that I managed to record as a treasure from another time, it manages to express more convincingly what R2R technology is all about. A technology that lately has gained quite a bit of prominence among audio enthusiasts, and it's implemented in the new FiiO M33. The R2R DAC feels like the warmth you get when you walk into a well-heated monastery, a village where sacred music is playing. After having traveled dozens of kilometers through icy paths and frozen forests, thanks to Zocosity, a Spanish company specializing in top-quality audio and offering the best prices on everything audio-related. I've managed to be the first Spanish-language channel to review this unusual new device from FiiO, the FiiO M33 R2R, and here it is in all its glory. Notice that it already comes with this leather case, with those metal vents that help cool down the device. Honestly, the case is amazing. At this point, especially for newcomers to this channel, I want to clarify that neither FiiO nor Zocosity pays me to create this unique content. It's simply my passion for technology, especially for audio, and above all, my desire and effort to create content that's a bit out of the ordinary. And you can already see its design. There are two colors, gray and black. The back is made of matte glass. Fingerprints don't stick easily, and the frames are metallic with certain grooves that help you grip it better. I also like that it already comes with a built-in screen protector. At this point, I think it's tempered glass. It weighs 258 grams, and despite being quite thick at 17 millimeters, honestly, all the edges it has helped make it a bit more ergonomic. And you can already see the USB 3.0 ports. This is an improvement over the FiiO M21, which I also tested on this channel. It has a micro SD card slot of up to 2 terabytes, and this other USB-C port. And as you can see on the side, it has this D mode, this lever. Honestly, it looks really good, and it would be used to activate a sort of desktop mode, which prevents the battery from wearing out. That is, the power comes directly from the outlet, and it also makes it more powerful. It gives more power to this FiiO M33. The buttons have a good travel, and the middle button has a small tab that helps you tell the buttons apart more easily just by touching it with your fingertip. A balanced 4.4 jack and another 3.5 jack, and the power button with an RGB LED ring at this point. And on the other side, there are also two buttons, the volume buttons and a customizable button. The truth is, it's extremely configurable. And this is how it would fit in your hand. Even though it's quite thick, it's ergonomic. That 5.5-inch screen, which I'll talk about later, helps a lot. But at the end of the day, the most important thing about this FiiO M33 is definitely its sound. And you can already see that lock and unlock button with that ring. Honestly, it looks pretty good. And, well, the screen, as I was saying, is 5.5 inches Full HD plus IPS technology. However, like all players, it lacks a brightness sensor. You need to adjust the brightness manually, and screen customization is limited, as expected for this device. This is how a YouTube video would appear. The viewing angles aren't the best, and the brightness isn't the best either, but it's more than enough to enjoy content on a fairly small 5.5-inch screen. This mainly makes it portable, which I think is the most obvious benefit of these higher audio players. The hardware and software lack double tap to lock, but do have double tap to wake, though it doesn't work well. Hopefully FiiO can fix it in future updates. It comes with a Snapdragon 688 GB of RAM and 128 GB of internal storage, which you know can be expanded up to 2 TB with a micro SD card. It also runs stock Android 13. More than enough for this type of device. As you can see, for example, it runs Instagram quite smoothly. Still, I insist it's not designed for this kind of content. Even for gaming, this Qualcomm processor is powerful enough to run them. It has a 4400 mAh battery, which lasts around 13 hours of continuous music playback. However, if you have it at very high gain settings, the listening time may be slightly reduced. And what have I tested this FiiO M33 R2R with? Well, it had to be with these Mies Elite. The best headphones I've tried on this channel are absolutely amazing. They're also quite pricey, but if you're an audio enthusiast with a good budget, I highly recommend them. You can also check out the review to see more. And now, let's get to the most important thing about this FiiO M33 R2R, which is, without a doubt, its sound.
Subscribe, come on.
The R2R technology gives it a warmer, more colorful, closer, and more detailed tone, but above all, I think the word that best defines it is warmth. If I had to compare it in terms of sound to the FiiO M21, honestly, the differences aren't huge, but I did notice a bit more warmth, more detail, and a bit more naturalness in the M33. It has a good power output of 1,100 milliwatts, honestly. It's really good. You can drive any headphones, no matter how much impedance they have, quite easily. And these 1,100 milliwatts are possible when you plug it in, using the super gain or super high gain mode. With high gain, it reaches up to 900 milliwatts, so you don't need to keep it plugged into the power supply, which is great. It supports up to 10-band equalization, and you already know the FiiO Music app, which still has this design flaw. You can see that bar right there. Hopefully FiiO will fix it in future updates. But anyway, I've talked a lot about the software already. When it comes to FiiO, there are dozens of videos on the channel about all its products. At this point, you already know that my channel isn't overly technical, with lots of numbers and so on. All these statistics and graphs are available on the website. I like to communicate in a different way, and I'm one of those who believe that music and audio can't be explained. They have to be felt. The music from the M33, besides being warmer and clearer and feeling more present, makes the vocals sound a bit more natural. There's a greater sense of clarity, and there's also quite a bit of smoothness, which is an improvement over the FiiO M21. I insist the difference isn't huge, but it's there. The sound signature is richer, more refined. The bass drops a bit deeper without muddying the mid-frequencies. And the vocals, I insist, are almost sacred, very organic. You can practically touch them. And that smoothness that the M33 has also stands out in the highs, which are not fatiguing at all. And in the end, it's one of those players you can listen to for many, many hours without feeling any kind of listening fatigue. Hey, and what's the price of this FiiO M33 R2R? Well, as you can see, 679.99 euros, and it's available in 2 colors. Also, you know, Zocosity has special offers, so if you're interested in an audio device, they have it. And at the best price, I'll leave the purchase link below in the video description. Here, I recently tested the FiiO M27, which is FiiO's top-of-the-line model. Obviously, it costs much more, but I think at this price, and especially with R2R technology, it's not bad at all for anyone who loves great sound. Without a doubt, I really like this FiiO M33 R2R for its warmth, for the more human touch it brings to music. I'm not surprised that this technology is so successful. Being so successful lately, it gives the music a more natural, more emotional sound. If, on the other hand, you prefer a more analytical sound, FiiO has other players. For example, the M27 is more analytical, but let's say they are quite different concepts. And at this point, if you really like my content and want me to keep making tech videos that are so different from what you usually see on YouTube, you know, it would help me a lot if you gave it a like and subscribed if you haven't already. Without a doubt, the work behind each of my videos takes a lot of effort, and your support is essential. I can already tell you that there will be more reviews of devices with R2R technology. Thank you so much for being there, and I'll see you in the next video. See you soon.
Requiem in cernum, silence, silence. Whispers that vanish into thirst.